In the vast expanse of the African savanna, where golden grasses glimmered under the warm sun, there lived a lioness named Zuri. She was known far and wide for her strength, agility, and fierce determination. Zuri's coat was a beautiful shade of tawny brown, blending seamlessly with her surroundings. Her powerful legs and muscular build gave her an edge in the wild, and her piercing green eyes sparkled with intelligence. She was not just another lioness. She was the heart of her pride. Zuri had a special role within her family. If you enjoy this video, please like the video and subscribe for more, and tell me where you are watching from today. I always find it awesome to see where all my viewers are watching from. Let's get back to the video. As one of the lead hunters, she took on the responsibility of providing food for her pride. It wasn't an easy task. The savanna was filled with all kinds of challenges, from swift antelopes to cautious zebras. However, Zuri approached each hunt with skill and patience. She knew that success required more than just brute strength. It demanded strategy and teamwork. When Zuri hunted, she moved like a shadow through the tall grass. With every step, she stayed low to the ground, careful not to make a sound. Her keen senses picked up even the faintest rustle of leaves or the softest hoofbeats. She could feel the rhythm of life all around her, as each animal played its part in the grand circle of existence. This awareness guided her movements and sharpened her focus. One particularly bright morning, Zuri set out with determination in her heart. The sun rose high in the sky, bathing the land in golden light. Today felt different. She sensed something exciting awaited her beyond the horizon. After a hearty meal shared with her pride earlier, she felt energized and ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As she prowled through familiar territory, her territory, Zuri suddenly caught a whiff of something unusual on the wind. It wasn't the scent of prey, but rather something foreign and intriguing. Curiosity ignited within her as she followed this new scent trail deeper into the savanna. Suddenly, Zuri spotted movement in a nearby thicket. A small group of springbok grazed peacefully, unaware of their predator watching from afar. She crouched low again, muscles coiled tightly like springs ready to unleash their power at any moment. The thrill of the chase surged through her veins as she calculated her next move. Just as Zuri prepared to leap forward into action, another distraction arose from behind her. A sudden rustling sound caught her attention. Turning slightly, she saw something unusual lying on the ground nearby. An object that didn't belong in nature at all. It was large and oddly shaped, half buried beneath some dried grass. Intrigued yet cautious, Zuri approached it slowly, still keeping an eye on the springbok herd just ahead. As she drew closer to the strange object, while keeping herself hidden among shadows cast by swaying grasses, the sun filtering through branches created dancing patterns. It became clear that this was not simply debris left by careless humans. It seemed almost alive in its own way. With curiosity getting the better of her instincts for hunting fresh prey at that moment, something tugged deep inside, urging exploration. Zuri picked up that heavy item in her jaws, without fully understanding why it felt important to carry forward now rather than ignore altogether. This unexpected burden weighed heavily against her powerful jaws as she navigated back toward familiar paths leading homeward, accompanied by whispers held between breaths, shared quietly amongst fellow creatures surrounding them all day long under shimmering skies. The weight felt different, puzzling almost, but somehow fitting too. Could it be possible this item represented more than mere odds discarded? What if it carried meaning beyond one solitary lioness's journey? Questions spiraled within thoughts as Zuri pondered possibilities, weaving through connections, yet uncharted across lives. They intertwined closely throughout these vast plains, sprawling endlessly onward, till dusk beckoned forth reflections, shared, consuming dreams, waiting patiently beneath starlit nights, glowing faintly overhead, illuminating paths still left unexplored. As Zuri continued to trot toward home with determination driving every footfall forward, though still uncertain about what awaited ahead, she realized one important truth. Sometimes life takes us off our intended path for reasons we might not understand, yet challenge us further than expected, pushing boundaries, stretching courage, pulling threads, connecting everything beautifully together. Thus began this remarkable adventure for one lioness, carrying something heavy, tucked securely between strong jaws, a tale threading together creatures both wild and unknown, blending bravely into lives, intertwined forever, etched upon landscapes, painted vividly across time. As Zuri continued her journey through the savannah, the strange object she had picked up in her jaws began to feel heavier with each step. Initially, it had sparked her curiosity, but now the weight pressed down on her, making it harder to focus on her surroundings. She could feel the rough texture of the item against her tongue, a stark contrast to the smoothness of the prey she usually hunted. It was unlike anything she had ever carried before. The object was large and rectangular, almost like a box, but its surface was covered in dirt and dried grass that clung stubbornly to it. Zuri could see hints of color peeking through the earthy layers, faded blues and greens that suggested it once belonged to someone or something human. The thought puzzled her. What would a human be doing out here in the wild? This land was not meant for them, yet here lay evidence of their presence. Despite its unusual nature, there was something compelling about this object that drew Zuri in deeper. It felt as though it carried stories within its very structure, stories of adventure, loss, or perhaps forgotten dreams. A flicker of longing sparked inside her as Zuri imagined who might have owned it before. Was it a traveler who had lost their way? Or maybe a child playing in the grass? Each possibility added weight to the already heavy burden she carried. As she moved through the tall grasses, Zuri's keen senses remained alert for any sign of danger or opportunity. Yet, as she walked with this peculiar item cradled between her jaws, she couldn't shake off a feeling of connection to it, a bond forming between a wild creature and something crafted by human hands. The savannah spoke to her in ways beyond mere survival. It whispered tales of coexistence between all living beings. Zuri paused for a moment, letting herself reflect on this strange bond. The weight felt heavy not just physically, but emotionally too. Perhaps this object held significance beyond its mere existence. It could symbolize an intersection between two worlds, hers and that of humans who traversed these lands but were often unaware of its true magic. With every step toward homeward paths, lined by familiar scents and sounds, echoing across vast landscapes stretching endlessly onward, each heartbeat resonating with purpose, Zuri sensed that her journey would not just be about returning with food for her pride, but about understanding this newfound burden in different ways altogether. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew through the grasslands, carrying with it a flurry of sounds that startled Zuri back into focus. Her instincts kicked in again as she scanned both sides of her path, looking for potential threats or hidden surprises lurking behind tall blades, swaying gently overhead. And there they were, the springbok herd still grazing peacefully nearby. This was an opportunity she couldn't pass up. With determination igniting within once more, pushing aside thoughts swirling around burdens carried along, the lioness prepared herself for another hunt while still holding on to that mysterious object tightly. Its presence lingered like an unspoken promise, whispering challenges waiting ahead. But before leaping forward into action, chasing after swift feet darting across verdant fields, Zuri felt something tugging at her heartstrings, urging caution instead. What if this item represented more than mere distraction, pulling attention away from instinctual survival? What if carrying it forged connections, yet undiscovered, leading towards deeper understandings, bridging gaps between wildness and humanity? These questions danced within Zuri's mind, like shadows flickering softly beneath sunlit skies, casting warmth all around. They beckoned courage rising from within, urging exploration, instead chasing only after meals caught, fleetingly crossing paths each day without pause. With renewed resolve guiding every footfall forward, a balance struck between honoring instincts, honed through countless hunts, while remaining open-hearted enough, embracing moments unfolding beyond expected confines. Zuri trotted onward toward home, beneath vast horizons shimmering brightly, inviting possibilities, awaiting discovery ahead. Her journey had transformed from merely searching for food into something greater. A quest intertwining lives across boundaries carved long ago, spanning countless stories shared among creatures both wild and unknown, waiting patiently under starlit nights, dreaming dreams yet realized. Though uncertain where fate might lead next, holding on to that heavy burden shaped by mystery allowed new adventures bloom, brightly illuminating paths woven together beautifully amidst whispers. As shared breathed quietly among fellow beings, resting side by side under golden skies forevermore. The sun hung high in the African sky, casting its warm embrace over the savanna, where the grasses danced like waves under a gentle breeze. It was one of those perfect days, painted with vibrant colors that seemed to breathe life into the landscape. Golden hues blanketed the fields, while deep greens scattered about in patches where shrubs and trees stood strong. The scene was inviting and alive with sounds and sights that filled the air with energy. Zuri moved through this vivid scenery, standing out like a beacon of strength and elegance. As she prowled, her tawny coat blended seamlessly with the sun-kissed grass around her. But her powerful presence commanded attention. Each step showed off her muscular build, her posture proud and confident. Zuri was not just another animal wandering through. She embodied the spirit of the savanna. The symphony of sounds enveloped her as she walked. The rustling of leaves reacted to soft breezes, birds chirping cheerful melodies while fluttering about as they chased each other through branches overhead. In a distance, a chorus of calls could be heard. The low trumpeting of elephants mingled with bursts of laughter as playful monkeys navigated their leafy kingdom. The atmosphere vibrated with life, every creature playing its role in this magnificent ecosystem where nature thrived harmoniously. Beneath this lively spectacle rested scents that told their own stories, earthy odors mingling sweetly with hints of blooming wildflowers dotting the surroundings. Zuri could detect the rich musk of animals nearby. The fresh scent of dew still lingered in the early afternoon air, from grasses that had soaked in coolness before sunrise. Each inhale grounded her in this world teeming with life as she absorbed its essence deeply within. Yet today felt different. A current pulsed beneath the surface, a sense of adventure tinged with uncertainty. The heavy object she carried in her jaws tugged at her focus, reminding her constantly that there was more than instinct guiding her purpose forward. Something more profound, calling to explore further beyond ordinary encounters. As Zuri strolled along familiar paths woven into patterns created by countless roaming animals before her, she caught sight of a graceful group of gazelles bounding effortlessly nearby, playing graceful games amidst tall blades, beckoning friends closer alongside warming sun illuminating hearts aflame. but all eyes were now fixed intently on Zuri, walking deliberately toward them. In that momentary pause, marked by breath held tightly beneath sunlight, glistening across wide-open ranges, the world surrounding remained unaffected by jitters expectedly stirring, yet navigated primarily through quickened heartbeats, drawn down pathways unseen, carrying mysterious burdens, heavy tied between jaws, steadfast, summoning faith. Daring arms embraced intimacies present within, places lost, touched more delicately over time, invoking wild curiosity, unmistakable, aligned at edges, explored soulfully, gathering uncharted experiences, radiating brightly, shimmering, endlessly worth unveiling, promised landscapes waiting forward, trailing behind, wondering once more, searching recognized spirits, crossing region drawn inward, eternally weaving joy, shared merely reflecting all beautifully woven. Time stretched forward intoxicatingly, enticing tenderly fragrant saffron hues, inducing warmth, soothed beating voices, clash calling deeper bonds forged beneath expanse, lingering devoted together. Journey realms echoed silently, vibrant colors unlocked, tightly swirled dreams, still passing onward, beckoning trails boldly crossing boundaries, pleading beside unseen dwellers, among carried hearts evermore ready. Timeless treasured echo guiding every soul awaited, finished stories unfolded. Narrated expected cycles, destined connect, exchanged through whispers, lifting spirits onward, breathing songs together, promising unfolding seasons gathered quietly. Past carrying near, wildly vast, endless horizons, extended lifetime, softly embracing, holding young questions, murmured sec tomorrow. Returning hands, drawn grasp, too cherished beyond hollow mazes, hunting outward, seeking food taken naturally. Even while all attention swarmed moments encaptured ahead, drifting motion, swaying among endless outlines, brushed against profiles revealed startling clarity, ignited amongst soft whispers, gathering equatorial flames, internally assuring hearts, pulsing lives cry, calling shared dreaming no longer confined, prevailing wisdom, transcending expectation, demands unleashed blooming wonders, revealed countless traces, revelations collected, bursting in form. Each joyous passage come alive frequently, creek-drawn blessings radiating forever, enchanting spectrum, blossoming, illuminating paths rarely seen anew, exalted, transforming existence, lived, etched, gently outlined experiences. Retreat enriched, so much showcased worthy intentions, merging, vanished utterly unknowns, burden somehow lightly embraced, rising, endlessly bountiful lore. Destinies flourish, spirit, flowing bright, illuminating voices, breathing worlds now discursively converging across centuries brought proudly homeward. Paths lovingly united, waiting glimpses, spellbound forever, twinkling toward gleaming stars, shining brilliantly overhead. Every narrative cradled sequin ties, eternally glimmering within, freshly smeared beauty, breathtaking, unfolding's spontaneous life. As the sun continued its journey across the African sky, casting a golden glow over the savannah, Elias walked with a sense of wonder. He had always dreamed of exploring this wild land, and now, surrounded by the beauty of nature, he felt a thrill coursing through him. Each step led him deeper into the heart of the savannah, where vibrant colors and the sounds of wildlife filled his senses. Elias considered himself a kind-hearted traveler, someone who approached every experience with an open mind and a spirit of adventure. With his camera hanging around his neck, he aimed to capture moments that showcased the raw beauty and incredible diversity of life in this environment. He was not just a tourist. He was a storyteller, hoping to share the wonders of the savannah with others back home. As he wandered further, Elias suddenly spotted movement in the distance. Instinctively, he stopped and squinted against the sun to get a better look. His heart raced when he realized it was a lioness moving gracefully through the tall grass. He had read about these magnificent creatures, but never seen one up close. The sight took his breath away. her powerful muscles rippling beneath her tawny coat as she walked with purpose. But what intrigued him most was the heavy object she carried in her jaws. Curiosity sparked within him as he watched her approach a small rise near a watering hole. What could it be? Why was she carrying something so unusual? Elias felt both excitement and apprehension. After all, lions were wild animals, and he knew he had to respect their space. He crouched behind a nearby bush, wanting to observe without disturbing her. The lioness paused for a moment, as if sensing something in the air, her keen instincts alerting her to potential dangers or changes in her surroundings. In that brief moment of stillness, Elias's heart pounded loudly in his chest, every beat echoing his anticipation. Zuri stood tall against the backdrop of the savannah. Her green eyes scanned her surroundings before she lowered her head to inspect the object resting heavily between her paws. It thudded softly against the ground as she placed it down, a curious sight amidst nature's typical offerings. Elias leaned forward slightly to get a better view. The object was large and rectangular, covered in dirt with hints of color peeking through. Faded blues and greens that suggested it belonged to someone from another world entirely. Watching Zuri's careful examination filled him with empathy. There was something poignant about this interaction between a wild creature and an object crafted by human hands. As Zuri inspected her find, Elias couldn't help but feel drawn to her strength and gracefulness. She was not merely a predator. There was an elegance about her that spoke volumes of her role within this ecosystem. Despite knowing that lions could be dangerous, there was something in her demeanor that seemed calm and introspective. Gathering his courage, Elias took a few cautious steps closer while keeping his movements slow and deliberate. He wanted to show Zuri that he meant no harm. Instead, he felt an irresistible urge to connect, to understand why this lioness had brought this strange burden into her world. Suddenly, Zuri lifted her head sharply, locking eyes with him. The world fell silent for a moment as they stared at each other. Two beings from vastly different realms, encountering one another under the vast African sky. For Elias, it felt like time stood still as they shared this extraordinary connection, an unspoken understanding flickering between them. Elias smiled gently and whispered softly, "Hello." He wasn't sure if she would comprehend his words, but hoped she could feel his kindness radiating through his voice. To his surprise, Zuri seemed to relax slightly at his presence. Perhaps she sensed no threat from this curious traveler who dared to approach. With newfound confidence stemming from their shared moment of recognition, Elias moved a little closer, yet still kept a respectful distance. "What have you found?" he asked quietly, gesturing toward the object resting at her feet. Zuri glanced down at what she carried, the weight of it both physical and metaphorical, and then back up at him again, as if pondering this stranger's inquiry about an item so foreign yet so close to home. Now nestled softly within paws, cradling deeply nurtured instincts, guiding forth exploration, transcending limits imposed often by boundaries drawn long ago. In that instant, Elias felt gratitude swell within him, not just for witnessing such beauty, but also for being part of something greater than himself. This encounter was more than mere observation. It represented a bridge between two worlds, the wild spirit of the savannah and the curious heart of humanity longing for connection. Zuri finally took a step forward toward him, as if inviting him into this moment shared together beneath expansive skies stretching endlessly overhead. Here lay potential paths, waiting eagerly, directing lives intertwined across time. An echoing promise, illuminating destinies, blossoming vibrantly, urging them onward. What stories would unfold from this encounter? What lessons awaited them both hidden in whispers flowing gently through grasses swaying softly along horizons still unexplored? With each heartbeat resonating fiercely among them, intertwined beautifully dancing across fading light, painting tales told endlessly beyond themselves forevermore. The moment hung in the air, charged with a palpable tension as Zuri, the lioness, took a step closer to Elias. Her powerful frame was poised and alert, each muscle coiled with the energy of both curiosity and instinct. The sun cast long shadows across the savannah, creating an almost magical ambiance around them. Every sound, the rustling of grass, the distant calls of birds, the soft breeze, seemed to fade into silence as if nature itself held its breath. Elias stood frozen, captivated by the lioness before him. The connection they had just shared felt fragile yet profound, and he could sense the weight of her burden reflected in his own heart. She appeared regal and fierce, yet there was an undeniable gentleness in her movements that intrigued him more than anything else. What could she possibly want from him? What story lay within the object she clutched tightly between her jaws? Zuri took another deliberate step forward, her green eyes locking onto his with a mixture of trust and uncertainty. Elias could see the heavy object resting in her mouth, a large rectangular shape now dusted with dirt. It was a strange sight in this wild setting, contrasting sharply with the natural beauty surrounding them. The colors peeking through the grime hinted at something once cherished, perhaps discarded or lost by a human traveler. With every heartbeat, the tension grew thicker as Zuri bent her head slightly, bringing the object closer to the ground. Elias held his breath, anticipation coursing through him like electricity. He felt as if time had slowed down. This moment was pivotal, teetering on the edge of two worlds colliding. Then, as if compelled by an unseen force, Zuri opened her mouth slowly and carefully released the object at Elias's feet. It landed softly with a soft thud, sending up a tiny cloud of dust that shimmered in the sunlight. For a heartbeat, everything was still, the air heavy with unspoken questions and wonder. Elias stared down at the item now resting before him. He knelt cautiously, his heart racing with excitement and confusion as he examined what lay at his feet. The object was indeed rectangular and weathered, its surface marred by dirt but still revealing hints of faded colors, blues and greens that hinted at its origins. What was this forgotten relic doing in the savannah? Why had Zuri chosen to bring it here? Zuri remained close, watching him intently with those sharp emerald eyes that seemed to hold wisdom beyond her years. There was a sense of pride in her posture now. She had shared something significant with him. It felt like an offering, a bridge between their worlds that invited exploration and understanding. As Elias reached out to touch the object, he felt a rush of emotions flood through him. Curiosity mingled with awe and gratitude. Here lay evidence of humanity's existence intertwined with nature's raw beauty. This moment transcended mere observation. It became a shared experience laced with meaning and connection. He looked back up at Zuri, whose gaze remained fixed on him. "Thank you," he whispered softly, feeling like words were inadequate to express the depth of what he felt. "What is this?" he asked gently, his voice barely above a murmur. Zuri tilted her head slightly, as if contemplating his question. In that moment, it was as if she understood his longing for knowledge and connection, for stories waiting to be uncovered beneath layers of time and dust. This object represented more than just a physical burden. It carried the weight of history and purpose shared across their disparate lives. Elias's fingers brushed against the surface of the item, feeling its texture beneath his skin. He could sense the remnants of something precious, an echo of laughter or joy, perhaps, sealed within its walls long ago by hands unknown to him now, but forever connected through tales spun over generations. Suddenly, a soft breeze swept through the savannah, rustling the grasses around them and breaking the tension that had hung heavily in the air. It was a reminder that while their worlds were different, they were both part of this vast ecosystem, each playing a role in life's intricate tapestry. Zuri stepped back slightly, but did not leave. Instead, she maintained an attentive stance beside him. Elias looked into her eyes once more. There was something reassuring about her presence, a silent promise that this encounter would lead to further understanding between them. "What do you want me to do with this?" he asked earnestly, gesturing to the item lying between them as if seeking guidance from this incredible creature who had brought it forth. In response, Zuri seemed to lean in closer for a brief moment, before pulling back again. It felt like an invitation for him to explore, an encouragement to uncover whatever secrets lay hidden within. Not just this object, but their shared journey ahead. With renewed determination, fueled by connection, forged amidst wildness, thriving beautifully around them, they both sensed possibilities awaited beyond horizons, stretching far off into eternity, promising new stories, beckoning brightly alive, inviting exploration, tenderly woven throughout destinies, yet realized, reaching beyond mere ordinary encounters, unfolding evermore. Elias knelt in awe, staring at the heavy object that Zuri had just deposited at his feet. A whirlwind of emotions surged through him, confusion, surprise, and an overwhelming sense of wonder. The lioness stood nearby, her emerald eyes fixed on him with a mix of curiosity and attentiveness. He felt as though he were standing at the intersection of two worlds, one wild and instinctual, the other rooted in human experience. What had this majestic creature brought him? The object was unlike anything he had seen in nature before. It bore the marks of human craftsmanship, yet it was cloaked in dirt and grime, remnants of its journey through the elements. He brushed his fingers against its surface, feeling the rough texture beneath his fingertips. This item seemed to pulse with history, a tangible connection to the human world that clashed beautifully with the wild spirit embodied by Zuri. Elias's mind raced as he tried to piece together the significance of this unexpected gift. Why would a lioness carry something like this? Was there a purpose behind her actions? Or was it merely an instinctual response to an object she found intriguing? He yearned to understand what lay behind her gaze, a depth of wisdom that spoke to him without words. As he leaned closer to inspect the object further, Elias felt a rush of emotions surge within him. Excitement mingled with confusion as he wondered about its origins. Had it belonged to a traveler who once roamed these lands? What stories did it hold? Perhaps it contained memories of laughter and joy from moments shared under wide-open skies. He glanced back up at Zuri, who remained poised and alert beside him. Her powerful form exuded both strength and grace, and he couldn't help but admire her ability to navigate this world with such confidence. "What is this?" he murmured softly, feeling like he was speaking not just to Zuri, but also to the essence of this moment, the connection they shared as beings from different realms. To his surprise, Zuri tilted her head slightly, as if contemplating his question. It felt as if she understood his longing for knowledge and connection. For a moment, Elias forgot about the potential dangers of being so close to a lioness. Instead, he was enveloped in a sense of wonderment that overshadowed any fear he might have felt earlier. Here was nature's raw beauty and wildness standing before him, an encounter that would forever transform his understanding of this magnificent land. As his fingers continued to explore the object's surface, he realized how much meaning was woven into this experience. This solitary instance encapsulated everything he had come to seek, a glimpse into lives intertwined across time and space. He imagined the stories held within it and felt gratitude swell in his chest for being part of such a special moment. Elias took a deep breath, attempting to ground himself in the present while grappling with so many questions racing through his mind. It was incredible how this simple act, Zuri dropping an object, had turned into something profound. It sparked feelings that transcended language and culture. The weight of history echoed between them as they stared at one another. What secrets were hidden within those faded colors? What role did humanity play in shaping the lives of creatures like Zuri? The sense of responsibility weighed heavily on him. Perhaps by accepting this burden from her, he was also accepting a deeper understanding of their connection, a bridge between worlds created through trust. Just then, Zuri took a cautious step closer again, her green eyes shimmering with something akin to hope or encouragement. Elias could feel her energy. It was palpable and electric. It inspired him to reach even deeper into the mystery laid out before him. "Thank you for sharing this with me," he whispered earnestly as he locked eyes with her once more. In that fleeting moment, he understood that what lay between them extended beyond mere observation. It represented a chance for exploration and companionship across boundaries. Elias leaned back slightly to give Zuri some space, while still remaining close enough to feel connected. "I promise I'll take care of it," he vowed quietly. "I'll find out what this means." His heart swelled with determination. He would not let the significance of this moment slip away into forgotten memories. As if sensing his resolve, Zuri stepped back just enough to allow him room while maintaining an attentive stance beside him. Her presence reassuring and grounded, contrasting beautifully against the open expanse surrounding them, both looking toward horizons brightening endlessly, inviting exploration. Together, in that magical landscape, bathed in dappled sunlight, filtering through swaying grasses, their worlds began blending seamlessly, forming new possibilities, unfolding beneath wide skies, weaving rich narratives alive, unlocking potentials long kept hidden, waiting breathlessly shared, revealing gifts unwrapped amidst wildness, surrounding vibrant threads, weaving back tightly stitched, richly painted lives, yearning forging paths together, embracing futures illuminating brilliantly beckoned forth stronger than any sunset, forever marking beginnings, resoundingly promised anew. Elias knelt in the warm sun, the weight of the moment settling heavy in the air around him. As he studied the object that Zuri had brought forth, a deeper understanding began to unfurl within him, like the petals of a flower opening to greet the dawn. This was no ordinary item. It was imbued with significance that transcended its physical form. The rectangular object was weathered and worn, its surface marked by time and the elements. Yet, beneath the layers of dirt and grime, lay vibrant hues of blue and green that hinted at its previous life, a life intertwined with human existence. Elias pondered what stories it held. Could it have belonged to someone who had ventured into this vast wilderness, perhaps a child seeking adventure or an artist inspired by the beauty around them? As he reached out to touch it again, he felt an overwhelming sensation wash over him. This object represented more than just a forgotten relic. It symbolized a connection between Zuri's world and his own. In bringing this item to him, Zuri might be conveying a message about coexistence, urging him to recognize their intertwined fates in this shared environment. Zuri watched him intently, her posture relaxed but alert, as if she sensed the gravity of the moment. Elias couldn't help but admire her strength and grace. Here was a creature who understood the land deeply, its rhythms, its dangers, its beauty. And yet she had chosen to share something with him. This act felt like a bridge between their worlds, an invitation for him to reflect on humanity's role within nature. He recalled tales of how lions in a pride would often bring remnants of their hunts, bones or trophies, to share with their young or fellow members as a way of teaching and bonding. Perhaps Zuri was offering him this object as a symbol of trust, a way to weave their experiences together in an effort to foster understanding between species. It sparked within him a profound sense of responsibility. He felt compelled to honor this gesture. "What is your story?" he whispered to Zuri, his heart swelling with respect for her intelligence and intuition. The lioness tilted her head slightly, as if she understood his curiosity, but couldn't impart the full depth of her knowledge through words alone. He turned his attention back to the object resting before him and began to examine it closely once more. The faded colors seemed to tell tales long forgotten, whispers carried on the wind through generations. What if this piece of history connected not only him and Zuri, but also all those who had walked these lands before? Each mark on its surface could represent moments lost in time. A child's laughter echoing through open fields, or an artist's inspiration captured under sunset skies. Elias's imagination surged forward as he considered how humans had always sought beauty in nature. He thought back to his own travels, how he had marveled at sunsets over distant horizons, or listened intently to rustling leaves underfoot. This object linked those experiences with Zuri's world. It was evidence that both humans and animals shared an innate desire for connection and understanding amidst the vastness of life. As he held it in his hands now, he felt not just an object, but a vessel carrying lessons about respect and coexistence. It seemed to pulse with purpose, a reminder that both creatures and humans must learn from one another if they were to thrive together in harmony. Elias looked up at Zuri once more, determination igniting within him. "I promise I will find out what this means," he vowed softly, capturing her gaze fully, as if searching for reassurance in her eyes. "I'll share its story with others." Zuri stepped closer again, her presence grounding him in reality, while simultaneously filling him with inspiration. This was more than just about one lioness or one human. It represented their collective responsibility toward each other and their shared home. With renewed resolve fueling his spirit, Elias set his sights on the horizon beyond them, the endless expanse where possibilities awaited like uncharted lands, ready for exploration. He envisioned sharing tales of his encounter with Zuri, and how this mysterious object might serve as a bridge between their worlds, a symbol inviting others to reflect on their relationship with nature. As they stood together beneath the vast sky, stretching endlessly above them, two souls intertwined across time. Their destinies began weaving intricately together through shared understanding, waiting patiently for stories, yet untold, beckoning forth. In that moment, filled with hope and connection, born out of trust, the weight of history settled gently upon their shoulders, urging them onward, inviting exploration, inspiring inquiries, nestled tenderly beneath shimmering stars, dancing brightly overhead, illuminating paths anew. Radiant futures beckoned toward brighter horizons, promising beauty evermore. As Elias continued to contemplate the significance of the object Zuri had placed before him, his thoughts drifted toward the innate instincts that guided both the lioness and himself. This unexpected encounter with Zuri had illuminated profound truths about animal behavior, survival, and the intricate web connecting wildlife and humanity in ways he had not fully appreciated before. Zuri embodied the essence of survival in the wild, Her instincts were honed through generations, allowing her to navigate the savannah with grace and power. Every movement she made was purposeful, a testament to years of evolution that shaped her into a skilled hunter and protector of her pride. In watching her examine this mysterious object she had found, Elias marveled at how animals possess an innate ability to sense significance in their surroundings. Zuri's curiosity about the object was instinctual. It was her way of understanding her environment and its nuances. Elias reflected on his own instincts as a human, how they often became clouded by societal expectations and technology. Unlike Zuri, he sometimes felt disconnected from nature, relying more on gadgets than on intuition. This encounter challenged him to reconnect with those primal instincts within himself, the ability to observe, feel, and respond to the world around him without preconceptions. Perhaps this was what Zuri wanted to convey: that human beings could learn from animals about respect for their surroundings and awareness of their impact on the environment. The connection between Zuri's actions and her survival also sparked deeper thoughts within him about coexistence between species. Here was a lioness who had brought forth an object tied to humans, a symbol of interdependence rather than division. It reminded Elias that while animals may have different ways of perceiving and interacting with their environment, there exists shared wisdom rooted in survival skills passed down through generations. As Zuri stood by patiently beside him, Elias couldn't help but appreciate how such instincts were crucial not only for individual survival, but also for maintaining balance within ecosystems. Predators played vital roles in controlling populations of prey animals. Each creature had its place in the grand tapestry of life woven throughout the savanna. The idea that both predator and prey were interconnected resonated deeply with him. Elias then considered how easy it was for humans to forget this balance as they built cities, paved roads, and separated themselves from nature's rhythms. Witnessing Zuri's vigilant watchfulness as she gripped onto that object, a burden now shared between them, made him realize how important it was to honor those ties, instead of dismissing them or taking them for granted. Feeling inspired by such revelations, Elias turned his gaze back toward Zuri once more. Beneath her fierce exterior lay incredible depth. She demonstrated not only instinct-driven behavior, but also capacity for empathy, a quality often underrated among wild creatures. He felt drawn to foster this bond, rather than assume dominion over it, since trust would bridge any divisions separating them further apart. "What can I learn from you?" he pondered aloud quietly, as though inviting her into his thoughts. A gentle exchange weaved above spoken words, exchanged brimming with heartbeats, connected intimately, throbbing quietly beneath open skies, like intricate tapestries, fluttering wise upon breezes, drifting graciously overhead, still breathing treasured life, swirling lovingly inward, enveloping souls, intertwined heartbeat, bearing witness, unfolding across timelines celebrated endlessly. In yet another moment, suspended under bright rays, breaking across sweeping landscapes. He couldn't shake away emerging feelings, reverberating softly. Lingering affection woven through consciousness, illuminating lanes untraveled, leading onward, inviting exploration, inspiring inquiries, awakening young questions, eager, blossoming boldly. Nurturing daydreams, pressed tenderly, inching closer, coiling beneath wonder, ignited expectantly toward future beckoning. Watching closely beside him, as if magically attuned beyond mere instinct, reflecting depths crafted, Zuri exuded grace, reminding Elias sentiments, gasping, flourished, vibrant gently, thriving, cherished living moments, reaching hidden places, rediscovering connections, familiar pathways unveiled, spiraling possibilities, woven brightly, tightly stitched through sacred realms, layered, carefully gifted alive, amongst stories, longing alive, waiting breathlessly, calling forth beneath vast heavens, pulsating intensely, shimmering beautifully, showcasing remarkable legacies, blessed twinkling stars shining brilliantly, lighting destinies, promising luminous joy, guiding boldly blossoming narratives, awaiting longer forth, illuminated forevermore. In this moment filled with hope, their worlds rang harmoniously together, melding seamlessly across horizons, shimmering, beckoned radiantly tangled together, inviting joy, wholesome measured brightly, flourishing anew. Nourished witnessing friendships, once lost, now gained, revealed, enchantingly stepping forward, joined forever. Onward embracing wondrous adventures intertwined, always calling, bringing heartfelt whispers, shelter, guiding luminous paths ahead, promising eternally brighter horizons unveiled. As Elias continued to sit in the warm embrace of the savannah sun, the weight of his thoughts deepened alongside the object Zuri had laid at his feet. In this moment of stillness, he felt as if he were at the center of a great mystery. A puzzle waiting to be solved, not just with logic, but with an expanded understanding of life itself. His previous assumptions about nature began to shift as he considered the implications of Zuri's actions. Initially, he had viewed her simply as a powerful predator in her realm, a creature to be respected for her strength and beauty. Yet now, she appeared before him as a complex being who navigated her world with purpose and intent. The act of bringing him this object felt like a gesture filled with meaning, one that was intriguing him more each second. Elias gazed up at Zuri, whose powerful body remained poised and watchful. He admired how she embodied both instinctual drive and thoughtful curiosity in her movements. It was clear to him that her journey had involved careful consideration, even as grounded by natural impulses unique to her kind. This understanding sparked within him a recognition that animals were not merely guided by survival instincts. They also possessed the capacity for thoughtfulness and connection, qualities often overlooked amidst preconceived ideas of wild creatures driven only by hunger or fear. As he reflected on their shared meeting under the open sky, Elias realized that Zuri's choice to bring forth this weathered object symbolized more than just a transaction of items. It represented an intersection between their worlds, a bridge inviting him to delve deeper into the essence of coexistence and respect for all living beings. It was an invitation to explore how humans and wildlife might learn from each other rather than remain segregated by differences and misunderstandings. "Maybe we can communicate," he whispered softly, addressing both Zuri and the object lying before them. In his heart, Elias felt compelled to honor this shared connection. He began to feel an urge not only to investigate the history behind the object, but also to appreciate the lessons Zuri could impart about living harmoniously alongside nature. Lessons that could bring about greater awareness and understanding. The hidden journey within himself also unfurled. For years, Elias had been absorbed in his life back home, lost amidst screens, schedules, and fleeting moments that often distracted him from what truly mattered. Staying present with nature and all its wonders. Observing Zuri's instinctive curiosity ignited in him an innate desire to reclaim that sense of wonder. He wished to embrace simplicity again, the very essence of what it meant to feel alive amidst vibrant ecosystems where life flourished without interruption. As he studied Zuri's calm demeanor, contrasting sharply against nature's vibrant canvas surrounding them, Elias began thinking about how human actions impact wildlife, how built spaces encroach on natural habitats, pushing creatures like Zuri into silence or displacement. This meeting made it clear that awareness should go hand in hand with observation. Understanding must follow empathy. The image of Zuri gripping onto the mysterious object became etched in his memory, a reminder that animals too possess richness within their experiences. Drawn from landscapes traveled lived, day to day surviving against nature's rhythms, threading through generations old and wise, no longer allowing unseen power, subtly crossing boundaries detached. Together, he said more firmly, we must carry these stories forward. He hoped to express his commitment not only for himself, but also for others who might follow this same journey. Individuals moving through life without noticing all around, reflecting ignorance, ignoring lessons shared. If only those threads woven gently hovered naturally between them, guiding spirits witnessing echoes, flights releasing toward brighter horizons appeared vibrant alive, bursting awaiting discovery. Zuri seemed mesmerized watching as newfound purpose lit up within Elias, like flames dancing ardently beneath bright skies, painting beautifully vast canvases alive, hinting futures, promising discovery, radiantly vibrant, embracing lives, igniting curious hearts, urging others inspired outdoors, celebrating coalescing journeys, intertwined, growing stronger together forever, enduring past bounds, open forging paths, guiding perspectives beyond mere fate, seeking out opportunities, blessing lives, flourishing together beneath starry dreams, illuminating brighter days, drawn by inviting gentle breezes permeating earth, freely showering both with laughter, blossoming enriching lives anew. Feeling drawn close once more as dusk started settling gracefully upon landscape, bathed in soft hues, blending softly, painting farewell. Their bond grew richer, wrapped tenderly, welcoming stories untold, promising promise, along pathways stretching eternally gleaming, radiantly awaiting bright marvels, yet unseen opening brighter realities, freshly embraced, illuminating futures many times unfolding. As the sun dipped low on the horizon, casting warm hues of orange and pink across the African savanna, Elias and Zuri stood together in a moment that felt both timeless and deeply significant. The encounter they shared had transcended the boundaries of species, creating an unspoken bond that would linger long after they parted ways. Elias knew he would carry the weight of this experience with him forever, just as Zuri had carried the mysterious object that brought them together. Zuri's choice to bring the object to Elias was not merely an act of curiosity. It symbolized so much more. It represented the interconnectedness of all living beings, the delicate balance that exists within ecosystems where humans and wildlife coexist. By selecting him as a recipient of her offering, Zuri had invited Elias into her world, urging him to see beyond the surface and recognize the challenges faced by animals in their natural habitats. As Elias looked at Zuri, he recognized her not just as a fierce predator, but as an embodiment of grace and wisdom. Her instincts guided her through life in ways that humans often overlooked or misunderstood. In her presence, he felt a renewed respect for the natural world and its inhabitants. Creatures who navigate their lives with instincts honed over countless generations. This understanding shifted his perspective completely. He realized that animals like Zuri possess intelligence and depth that deserve recognition and appreciation. In turn, Zuri seemed to sense the change within Elias. She stood tall, her powerful form radiating strength and confidence as she watched him with those piercing green eyes. It was clear to her that this human was different from many others who had passed through her territory. This one was willing to learn, to listen, and to understand. Their connection encapsulated a hope for a future where both animals and humans could thrive together harmoniously rather than in opposition. Elias marveled at how this encounter was not simply about an object or a moment frozen in time. It transcended into a journey of understanding that highlighted the importance of empathy and respect for nature. He felt inspired to share the lessons he had learned with others back home, Stories about the lioness who brought forth a piece of history to bridge their worlds, connecting them through shared experiences and mutual respect. In his heart, Elias understood that all creatures have their role in maintaining balance within ecosystems. They depend on one another for survival. Predators like Zuri kept prey populations in check while ensuring healthy biodiversity flourished within their environment. This delicate dance reminded him that every action has consequences. Humans must tread carefully upon this earth, recognizing their impact on wildlife and striving to protect those intricate webs of life. As dusk settled over the savannah, Elias felt exhilarated by the possibilities awaiting him. He envisioned not only sharing his experiences, but also advocating for preservation efforts aimed at protecting wildlife habitats from encroachment and exploitation. This journey was not just about documenting beauty. It was about fostering a sense of responsibility toward nature that extended beyond mere fascination. Zuri, too, had undergone a transformation during their encounter. No longer just an instinct-driven lioness navigating her realm, she became a symbol of resilience, a guardian of wisdom eager to impart lessons about coexistence with those who could hear her silent call. The burden she had carried now served as a reminder of how connections could be forged across species barriers through acts of understanding and trust. As they stood side by side, a lioness and a human, both recognized that they were part of something much bigger than themselves. They were threads woven into the rich tapestry of life on Earth, each playing unique roles within this intricate system. Together, they embodied hope for future generations, demonstrating that respect for nature could lead to meaningful relationships between humans and wildlife. With a heart brimming with gratitude, Elias whispered his final promise to Zuri. "I will share your story." As he said these words, he felt certain that their paths crossed for a reason, that this encounter marked the beginning of a new chapter in his life, dedicated to preserving the beauty of nature around him. In that moment, filled with connection and understanding under starlit skies, waiting patiently overhead, their bond blossomed into something enduring, an invitation for all to reflect on their relationship with nature while nurturing respect across species boundaries, encouraging awareness, blossoming eternally brightened horizons ahead.